Why is the God of the Old Testament so different from the God of the New Testament? As I was growing up reading the Bible, this problem used to bother me a lot. The God of the Old Testament seems very wrathful, vindictive, quick to smite people and strike people down for disobeying. The God of the New Testament is very merciful and loving. There are obviously exceptions to this. There are instances of mercy in the Old Testament, like God's mercy on Nineveh and the book of Jonah. There are instances of wrath in the New Testament, like God's striking down of Ananias and Sapphira in the book of Acts. But on the whole, that's the picture. There's a stark difference. And I didn't understand this for a long time, but this is an analogy that's helped me recently. So let's imagine for a moment a zombie apocalypse movie. There's patient zero who gets infected and slowly succumbs to this craving for human flesh. The zombie virus spreads and panic and chaos breaks out. There's death and destruction everywhere. Out of the chaos rises a band of survivors that are somehow managed to be uninfected or perhaps resistant to the disease. They strike out, clearing a path, and establish a walled base or city where they can have some safety. They clear the area of zombies. They kill all the zombies that are clearly beyond saving. They establish strict rules for who can enter and leave their walled city. It is extremely exclusive. There are extremely strict protocols within to prevent infections from spreading. Even with all these strict protocols, sometimes infections still break out within. And these are dealt with in the most brutal fashion possible. All the infected are killed. There is no mercy. There can be none. Yet meanwhile, there's a glimmer of hope. Deep within the city, a cure is being worked on. One glorious day, the cure is complete. And overnight, everything changes. All of a sudden, zombies that were looked at as enemies, beyond hope, are suddenly potential patients that can be cured. The people of the city, rather than excluding those outside, go out as missionaries to cure all those beyond saving. The exclusivity and strict protocols change as they're no longer needed, and the brutality is no longer employed. The infected are now viewed as patients rather than irredeemable enemies. So now let's go back to the Bible. What we see is, in the beginning, we have patient zero. Adam and Eve are infected with this disease of sin. Immediately, chaos breaks out. Cain murders his brother and establishes a city of murderers, and the world descends into chaos. God wipes the slate clean in a flood and chooses one uninfected, as it were, righteous man, Abraham, and creates from him a family and a nation. This nation goes to wipe out the Canaanites, the infected beyond hope, to give a place for his people to live in safety. God's covenant people are held to the most strict and exclusive standards. They are constantly warned not to intermix with outsiders, not to adopt the customs and practices of outsiders. The Mosaic law is a set of strict rules about purity, both physically and spiritually, to prevent the disease of sin from infecting and spreading. Even with all this, of course, there are still infections, as it were, that break out among the people of God. Sin still gets a foothold, and these are dealt with brutally. Those guilty are often struck dead, and there is very little mercy. Yet all this time, there is a cure, the Messiah, being prepared. At the right time, Jesus comes forth as the cure to the disease of sin. God's people are no longer restricted and exclusivist. They are now missionaries sent out into the world to bring a cure to those who are willing. This analogy has helped me a lot. It's helped me understand that the change is actually not a change in God's character, who God is. It's actually just a change in circumstance. The circumstances are now different. They require a different response. The God of the Old Testament and the God of the New Testament are the same. The disease of sin is still the same, and it still should be taken very seriously. The difference is now there is a cure. Now the cure is here and available to all those who want it. And the power of sin and death, as it were, has been taken away. You guys can let me know what you think in the comments. Thank you for watching.